right, Kathy Govoreau.
Hello.
The beautiful Kathy Govoreau. How are you?
Good. How are you, Patti?
Wonderful. Always a pleasure to see you, my friend.
Yes, always.
Yeah, you've been traveling. You've just got back from Tennessee and Phoenix we were talking about.
Yes.
And a little crazy girls weekend in Scottsdale.
Just a little crazy weekend.
Okay, how crazy are we talking?
Just a little bit.
Well, you can tell. I won't tell anybody, I promise.
Shh, what stays in Phoenix?
Yeah.
Or what happens in Phoenix stays in Phoenix.
Okay. Well, we're talking a little bit here about a little bit of everything, right? We'll talk about some fun because I'm going to dig on you a little bit. I want to know all the details because I spent a weekend in Scottsdale last year and had some fun with Brandy Nixon and had a girls' weekend. So I can appreciate it.
Yep.
But what, holy hole in the donut, Batman, what's going on with your business? I think I looked at the numbers. You're up 224% and heavily listing based. I mean, kudos. What are you doing?
Thank you. You know what? What I'm doing is kind of sticking back to old school basics.
Old school stuff doesn't work.
Yes, it does, people.
Tell me everything.
So, I was doing a lot of the new stuff that everybody's going into doing, which is your social medias. I'm not saying it's not important.
Yep.
It's very important.
Yep.
But I just couldn't manage it as well as I can manage old school ways that I was trained in 18 years ago.
Yep.
Which, from door knocking to postcards to, just all the stuff that everyone hates to do, honestly, because it's so time consuming. But I thought, why don't I focus in on that again and see what happens? Why not?
And
spend a year doing this,
and
it's working.
And how long did it take you to come to that realization? Because I know we have a mutual friend, Brianna Sullivan, who both said, I remember when I was selling it you could easily spend your way right out of this business because there's so many different shiny objects. So when you realized that and you decided I'm going to go back to what I know how to do, how long did it take you to have liftoff where you started seeing results? Because it can be a slow process.
It is. It was about in the 6th month when I started to get some response. And those couple of farm areas that I chose started to see who I was.
Okay.
And so from that point, it just was like, hey, how are you doing? I'm doing an open house again in the neighborhood, that kind of thing. And just trying to be friendly with everybody, invite people over. And I was having people come over, and then people were staying a little longer than I, because they want to hang out,
Yeah.
And so it just was a great year last year for old school activity, lots of time, but it was fun.
Well, that's what people think. I mean, because you've been licensed. I've known you since 2014. You've moved a couple of times, but you've been licensed for how long?
Since 2006 is when I got licensed.
So you were is my math right, 19-year overnight success?
Yeah.
Right? The 6 months,
Yes.
even with somebody with your type of experience, it still took 6 months because this is your second time in Las Vegas, right?
Yes.
You were here, moved away for family reasons, then came back. So,
yes.
And when you moved back in 2020?
In 2000, no, I think it was 17. So when was it? 2020.
Yeah, I thought it was 2020.
Yes. You're right.
So in the last 5 years, took you a little bit to course correct, but you're able to get there. So one thing I know about you, and one of the things I love about you, is you're very endearing. And it's very much, people don't know how much you care until you show them how much you care. And you can really do a lot. I believe what you're saying when people touch you, right?
Yeah.
They just want to be around you.
Yes.
So good for you. How are you managing? How are you staying on top of it all? Like, do you have a routine or something you're doing in real estate?
Yeah. One of the things I am making sure I do is going into the office all the time. I know we all love to work at home and at Starbucks and all the different places we all go. But the thing that keeps myself focused is getting into the office. Mm-hmm. I can go into my office, shut the door, and work.
Love it.
Go out, say hi to everybody a little bit, go back in. But I stay focused. When I work at home, of course, like we all do, I'm going to throw that load of laundry in. Oh, what's on TV? Oh, I'm going to do this. And this is what I do because I get the squirrel, I'm doing this when I'm at home. I don't do it in the office. So I thought, stay hyper-focused, stay in the office. Don't leave.
Very smart. I'm the same way. I remember during COVID, we thought, okay, what's going to happen in the world? Going home, and then we really did a blitz. We did a lot on Zoom because we didn't know what we were doing, and I remember becoming fatigued. I'm an office person as well. I love the community. I love the culture. It holds me accountable. And it also allows me when I'm home, right? I don't have to be at home working. I have clean lines, right? When I'm here, I'm working. When I'm home, I can be home. So I agree with that.
Absolutely.
And, oftentimes I find that people fight it. They fight coming to the office, even though they'll drive anywhere to the gym, right? I have some people I consult with and coach
Not
with.
me.
That, right? Yeah, me either. I use the great outdoors. What happens is I coach them well. Then I go to the gym in the morning and I drive, and they'll drive 10, 15 minutes, but yet they won't come to the office, which I never quite understood. It's just, where do you place the priority? And we're all fallible. They're distracted at home too, and it shows in their business. Not everybody. So that's great advice for anybody getting started or anybody struggling in real estate.
Go to the office, because if you're new, especially if you're new, go to that office, because you're going to listen to conversations that people are having.
So true.
Which helps you problem solve if something like that came up in one of your transactions. You can kind of remember that conversation that those two people had in the hallway. So you learn a lot in the office.
Yeah.
I think if you go to the office, you're going to double that focus that you're wanting and you're asking for. So
you can go further, faster. I remember when I was selling, I realized very quickly, I thought, I'd have all this free time and this flexibility. And I quickly realized I had a small window of 6 hours, because I had children who were in elementary and middle school, and I didn't have time to waste. When I went to the office, I would bunker down and work, and then I would leave. And then, of course, some of this stuff would roll over at home. However, going to the office that 6 hours allowed me to maximize my time.
Yeah.
And not get distracted with my mommy duties.
Yeah. Because we all have home duties.
Right.
So it's, let's take those few hours for those another time.
Now, congratulations to you, because a lot of your business is listing based.
Yeah.
And then tell me a little bit about, or tell the viewers a little bit about, you were in cosmetology and then you worked for Redken. I mean, tell us a little bit about that and how that helped you in real estate, transition to real estate, because both of them are relationship based, right?
Very much so.
And education based when you got to Redken. So tell us a little bit.
Very much so. So I had spent 32 years in cosmetology.
Stop it.
I started schooling when I was 15 years old. So I lied about my age so I could get enrolled. So
don't tell anybody.
Don't tell anybody. So I was doing cosmetology by the time I was a senior in high school. I was working in a salon and cutting hair and coloring people's hair and perming hair, because it was the 80s at that time.
Perm, oh my God. Perming. I had one. I had that and frosted. It was such an insult.
And the frosting kits.
Yeah.
So, and during that time, I wanted to be more than just a hairdresser behind the chair. I wanted to do more, and I didn't know what you could do more. So I started asking around with some of our sales reps, and our sales rep says, you should get into education. Why don't you try that? What's your favorite color line? What's your favorite this and what's your favorite that? And at the time, it was Redken, because they were just dominating the industry. And so I said, I love Redken. And they said, well, let's get you involved in that. We'll put you into a mentorship program and teach you all the ins and outs of that company. So I did. And it took a couple of years. Then they put me out to educate locally here in Las Vegas. And so I would teach in hair salons the science behind the chemicals we use, because I was science-based at the time, because I loved it. And so taught lots of people that. Then from that point, they wanted me to start working with platform artists, names like Sam Villa and Beth Bernardi in the field, that hairdressers out there listening will know those names, and Chris Barron, and just all kinds of different really famous people in our field. And I got to work with them. So I got to be like their assistants on stage and learn from the best. And so from that point, I just kept growing and growing in the field of education with all these people, because I had the right people behind me. And so spent that whole lifetime doing that. And I started having a lot of leg injuries, shoulder injuries,
That's tough. It wears on you over time.
Wore my body out. And so I was like, what will I do next? I am still super young. Like, what am I going to do? This is all I've ever known. Yeah, I went to college, but it was in business. So like that business degree helped me in my, hair business, which also helps me now. But it was like, I don't know what to do. And I started asking my dad questions because after he had retired from his job, he went into real estate.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so I said, how do you like real estate? And he said, oh, I love real estate. It's given me all the things that he's wanted to do when he changed his career. And I said, do you think I'd be good at that? He goes, oh, yeah, you'd be great. Do it. And so I said, okay, I'll do it. And then I just transitioned over, not knowing anything about what I was getting into.
But you knew people.
I knew people.
And you knew your education base
Yes.
is what I'm hearing, right?
Yes.
Because, that's what, that's an interesting parallel. I sold for a while and then realized I wanted to do something different. Education, the broader strokes, and it's a very similar path. I found an opportunity. I've always been in and around real estate, mortgage, construction. I own a construction company. Lived many different lives because I kept growing. It was just a different path.
Yeah.
It sounds like that was the same for you. You put yourself in the path of opportunity and learn from people operating really at the top of their game.
Yeah, and it really, the transition wasn't that hard. I mean, there was a learning curve in what I was doing from hair to real estate, dealing with lots of money.
Yeah.
I was dealing with lots of money over here, but not like this,
Right.
And so there was that little transition that happened. However, negotiations with your clients, I could still do from hair down over to real estate because it was always the what, when, why, how questions that I would always ask. And it went right over into real estate. So
A different product.
just a different product.
Okay.
So learn the product. And so that kind of was how that transition happened for me.
When did you realize that? When were you in real estate and how long? When did you realize, okay, I get it. I'm going to follow the same protocol, the same processes I had?
Probably the second year because the first year of real estate was tough.
It's a fire hose to the
I
face,
don't know
right?
what are you talking about? What's that? Lender who? What? You didn't understand the terms quite fully that first year. I was still trying to figure things out.
You were dropped into a new land and had to understand a new language. That's what I tell
Yes.
people, and that's one of the benefits to going into the office and taking the education because it's a whole new language.
Whole new language.
Okay.
And so by that second year, it was starting to click. Oh, so just do this. You did this. You've done this for all these years. Mm-hmm. Continue to do it in a slightly different way in real estate. And so I was like, okay, so let's start managing that.
Okay. And here you are today.
Yeah.
Huge success. What are you working on that's exciting for you, whether it be personally, business-wise? What's got you fired up this year?
Oh, fired up. Well, I'm fired up over, honestly, the production so far this year. My production's been really great so far this first quarter. Mm-hmm. I even got to be the top 500 in Vegas.
I saw that. I
mean,
that.
500. But I'm so glad for that.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Because I think only 10% of people will actually do any production. It's not even 20% anymore. So kudos.
So that was good. And I'm looking forward to trying to really, bust a move again, for this, the second half of our year. And so I'm wrapping up that right now and getting some help with some more different farming and different things that I'm trying to market right now. And so that's I'm getting ramped up. I did take about 3 weeks off at this point, so I'm a little behind, but I've got to get up.
It's worth the time off because you spend some time with your family.
Yes.
Again, we were talking about Phoenix. I'm going to come back to that, right?
Yeah.
So that's what's beautiful about this business is you can work. You're able to take. I realized that I've been here about 10 years. I was speaking with one of the top agents in our office. He said he takes off about 3 months a year.
No.
Because you can. Not only you're your own business owner, but you're getting into that space where the money and the flow, yes, it's always difficult to leave and go on vacation, right? I call it post-vacation depression.
Yes.
And you come back and you've got to ramp up. However, you can do that. Whereas if you are checking in 9 to 5, you don't really have that luxury. You have somebody who tells you when you can and can't.
Yeah, and that's the
can and can't take off, and
that's
you're probably unemployable. Is what I tell people, right?
Yeah,
good for you. You deserve it.
Yeah, and I think that's the beauty of it all. This industry, it gives us so much freedom to schedule our lives. Freedom to work as hard as we want to work or not. Mm-hmm. And if you choose not, you're going to feel that and you're going to be working again, kind of thing. But it is it's on your own. It's your responsibility. You are accountable for
Now, do you have any sort of leverage, any sort of people you're delegating things to that are assisting in your business, take some of the load off of you?
Yep, I do. I have a TC right now, and so I think if I try to continue to stay where I'm staying in production right now, I'm sure I'll probably need to get an assistant to help.
Good.
But I'm waiting that out for a while because, I just want to keep as much as I can right now so I can keep going.
And often that'll be the next growth opportunity, right? Is when you're doing all you can. How do I now get out of being my entrepreneurial self and get into purposeful? There'll come a point where you'll feel that pain. You'll say, now's the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I felt that with, finally needing to get a TC.
Yeah. That's usually the first step in leverage.
Yeah.
So kudos. So tell me, how is love showing up in your life right now? We talk about business all day, but let's talk about all the good stuff that, the money's good for the good it can do. How is love? You got grandbabies, you're married.
Yes, got
How's love showing up?
I know.
Gatsby. I love Gatsby.
I know. Oh gosh, these grandbabies. I love them all. It's, got Peyton, Cash, Charlotte. I got a new one on the way, Savannah. So it's just, I just love them so much. I wish I can see them all every day, or take time to be with them every day. But you can't. But when I do see them, it's them and me, and nobody else exists.
Now you're all in. Are you? Because the thing nowadays is to be called something other than grandma. Some people like to be called, are you grandma, or do you have a special name? We are Gen X,
I know.
Right?
I'm Nana for most of them. And then Charlotte's been calling me Nene. So we've been like, hey, Nene, because that's her thing. She's like, Nene. I'm like, well, Nene it is.
And how old is she now?
She's 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. She'll be 3 in November.
That's Emily's baby, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Aww.
And then Cash and Peyton are with Mitch. And then Savannah's with Austin.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you get your hands full.
Yeah. So they're all fun. And then just trying to, when they're here, what I love is being able to just go spend some money on them. I couldn't do that always.
Yeah.
And so now it's like if, like Peyton, one day she said, I want to go get a manicure and pedicure. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, why not?
$100 later.
Yeah.
I was like, I was able to do that, no problem.
That the memories you're going to create,
and that
right?
memory with her, and just let's go shopping. Okay, what do you want? It just was. I know those are little material things, but it just was like I've never been able to do that, where you just can throw money down the toilet for something,
Plus, girls are. I'm a boy mom. The girls. They're kind of enchanting like that. I know when my nieces would come, my mother would take them to Charming Charlie, which was used to be in Tivoli.
I remember that.
Yeah, and it was just really inexpensive stuff. And my mother would love it, and it was fun, and it was thrilling, and it was just a really girl thing to do.
Yes.
Now tell me, the other thing, you went to Phoenix. You just had a big celebratory. There were 10 of you?
10 of us.
10 crazy ladies?
10 crazy ladies.
And where did you stay? Old Town Scottsdale, Kierland Commons, where were you?
I don't know. We were at an Airbnb.
It must have been a good time.
In a really nice neighborhood. That's all well, they said it was kind of a upper scale area because it was a giant house with a giant pool. And I don't even know where it was, but it was beautiful there. It was Scottsdale's very nice. But 10 ladies, a pool, and I don't know, about 5 months worth of food is what we all brought. And,
okay, good.
And beverages, and it was insane.
So let me know the next time. I'm just going to be very forward and get myself in there because it sounds like my kind of weekend. So
it was fun.
I could talk to you all day. I want to respect your time because I know you have an important appointment, but I would like to do a lightning round.
Yeah, okay, let's do it.
Fun?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we're going to do the lightning round, and this will be super fun. Okay. So here's the point of the lightning round. I'm just going to ask you some quick questions.
Okay.
10 seconds to answer.
Here we
Don't
go.
overthink it. Okay.
Here we go. Let's go.
Drum roll. So coffee or tea?
Coffee.
First concert you ever went to?
Journey.
Beach, mountains, or city?
Beach. For sure.
If you were a superhero, what superpower would you have?
Ooh. I think I would fly.
Favorite food?
My favorite food is probably a taco.
We have a lot of them in the
I
dining
love
room
tacos.
Today. Early bird or night owl?
Early bird for sure.
Okay. And if you had 10 extra hours a week, how would you spend it?
I'd probably grab my grandkids every day.
Okay. Good.
I would probably grab them because they bring so much joy and love to me. So
yeah, love, health, wealth, and time to enjoy them.
They rejuvenate me. So
what does wealth mean to you? Final question. What does wealth mean to you these days outside of money? Like, how is that showing up for you?
It comes in to be something that is almost like stress-free. Freedom, of course.
Okay,
but
good one.
It becomes stress-free in a sense to when I like to be able to give something to somebody without thinking, will I be able to still pay my electric bill if I do this for this person? Okay. And so that's where the stress-free comes in for me. I want to be able to go, oh, I want to hear that this person was talking about, God, I'm so short. I'm short on this. Where I've zelled somebody, a couple $100 because they were short. And I didn't feel that pain.
So giving freely, having the freedom to help others.
To where it's not stressful on me, too. Because I want to help, but then there's times you can't because, there's been times in your life where you're tight.
Oh, yeah. I think we've all been there.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so having extra is always nice to have to be able to go, oh, I heard so-and-so needed this. I'm just going to zell over some money.
And give anonymously.
And just give it.
Over tip or do something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the good stuff.
Absolutely.
So, Kathy, if somebody wants to get in touch with you, somebody wants to get to know a little bit more about you, how would they find you? Where are you?
You can call me, 702-595-4568. I guess Google me. I'm all over.
Kathy Govoreau. All right, I
Kathy
got
Govoreau.
It. Awesome.
Yep, and you can do that. Find me there, and let's connect.
All right. Well, pleasure as always.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming. We need to get together, and this probably isn't on, but we're going to set up a time to go have some real talk and cocktails and just hang out.
Let's do it.
All right.